What's up, everyone, and welcome to Tide Talk, the Rhode Island FC podcast that's for the fans, by the fans. I'm your host, Matt, and whether you're a day one sicko or new to RIFC, you found your home. Every episode, we're breaking down the latest from Rhode Island FC, the matches, the moments, the players, and everything happening in and around the club. Before we dive in, make sure you're following Tide Talk across all of our social media accounts. We're on Instagram, X, Facebook, TikTok, wherever else you scroll. Stay locked in for updates, exclusive contents, and all things Rhode Island FC. If you're joining us on YouTube, please say hi and share your thoughts in the chat. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, please take a second to like, subscribe, leave us a rating and a 5-star review, as it helps more people find our podcast, helps us grow, and bring you even better content each and every week. All right, let's cozy up, crack the bear, dive into this one. Ryan's back tonight, as the chat is pointing out. So we love to see that. Ryan, how's your weekend going, my friend?
It was good. Honestly, I was a little worried last night. You were threatening to not invite me back because we have stuff to talk about at the end of this episode. But I'm happy that you actually sent me the correct link to join the episode.
I sent Leo it too, but he didn't bounce out. But did want to thank him for hopping on with Matt Hands to cover the Cup win midweek. Busy times here at Tide Talk.
It's crazy that we're back into multi-week sessions, just like 1 week into the season.
That's it, and it's gonna get going from there and only pick up. But unfortunately, we're here to talk RIFC's 4-2 loss in Louisville, but we'll also preview Miami FC and discuss the U.S. Open Cup Round 2 draw. So thank you to everyone who's in the chat. Make sure you remind you that you can interact with us, and we'll get you pulled up, your comments pulled up, so you can talk with us during the show, share your thoughts and all of that. I guess before we even get to the lineup, as it came up in the chat via Andrew Quadros, the wave kit is sexy. You're wearing it, Ryan. We noticed, and a lot of social media sleuths noticed, that the Ocean State print on the back is missing on this year's edition. I know Timmy picked one up for a friend, and it was missing as well. What are your thoughts on that? I've got strong feelings on this.
So I have strong feelings in a theory, actually. So
okay.
I hate it. I'm very lucky that I have a original vintage OG. Yeah, I would show you the Ocean State tramp stamp, but that'll mess up all my wires here.
Love it.
Yeah, quite frankly, I should probably stop wearing it and like preserve it for some reason, because apparently we'll just never see it again. And with the kit being the inspiration for it being the license plate, it really needs that Ocean State to really shine there. But my theory is that I wonder if they're making room for a potential kit sponsor to add a little additional revenue to the club.
I hate it even more then.
Listen, ads, baby. Ads. Put them everywhere. Make some money for the club.
I get that. I also, my theory was a little less financially motivated, and I wonder if it was I was trying to think of other teams and what they have below their kit, if it's sponsors, if it's text, or maybe it was like didn't fall within the league guidelines type thing, as it came out a little bit later. But interesting to keep an eye on. I wouldn't be surprised if you are right, though.
Yeah, I mean, I saw, unfortunately, Man City, their kit, like they're really hurting for money, so they had a sponsor down there, and I was like, oh, maybe that's why we removed ours. And then like Detroit has like 12 sponsors on their kit somehow, so they're definitely opening up more avenues for revenue. So, I mean, who would you want to see be the tramp stamp sponsor?
I'm gonna go with the goal graphics at Tidewater. I want the big blue bug right there.
Ooh,
keep it Rhode Island.
Nice.
Nice big blue bug tramp stamp across the bottom of a jersey. Why not?
That'd be beautiful. Quite frankly, like this is impossible because I don't think they exist anymore. But that Benny's font would look so nice down there.
True. Ocean State job lot tramp stamp.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, there's so many options.
The opportunities are endless.
Yeah, I would say if they are considering this being a sponsor, it must be a Rhode Island company. If you're going to remove Ocean State, it must be an Ocean State company that is, bringing this home.
Well, we have that really nice Tide Talk wavy font that's below us. We could pitch that to them. I don't think they'd take it very well, but worth a shot.
Tide Talk being the kit sponsor, I'm assuming one of us would have to hit like some sort of, maybe not like the full-blown Powerball, but some level of lottery in order to make that a reality. But hey, folks, who knows? Who knows? Keep liking and subscribing, and maybe we'll get there.
How do you feel about Just Coffee Milk?
I mean, I feel like it has to at least be Autocrat.
All right. Now that we're on this, so we're snowballing now. I mean, maybe
I don't want to talk about anything else after this, so this is great.
That's it. Maybe we're just looking at Oneyville, New York system, like down there. That'd be a cool one.
I mean, it would be a great time to announce because they do now serve alcohol, and what a beautiful time for them to really spin up business because I've never heard of a more dangerous idea than Oneyville, New York Systems serving alcohol because it's the place you need to go for a respite and to start your recovery process versus making it worse.
And, yeah, it's where you go at the end of the night.
Yes.
So to kind of keep rolling, it's not even hair of the dog yet.
No,
All right.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Let's go. Starting lineup in this one, we saw Koke and Net. We saw USL Championship, and ESPN can't get their lineup situations right. So I'll just read out the names. We had Yao, Stoneman, Sanchez, Nodarse, Hugo Baccarat, Quizero, Holstad, Pity, Afonso, and Leo. What did you think when you saw this 11, Ryan?
I was just really sad that the newcomer Ramirez wasn't in the game. I thought he was really good last week. We got this new guy Rodriguez in. For those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, last week ESPN showed Pity as Ramirez, not Rodriguez. But I think it's overall not too surprising. Going into it, we know Zach got injured the last match against Jacksonville. Scardina had a knock in the Open Cup. We haven't had any updates on Amos or Giap. So overall, this was kind of the people we had to go with. It's great that we did have, Scardina, even though he was injured, he was on the bench twice. So love that we could have two versions of him out there, even though we didn't see any. But yeah, I think the big decision that Kano had to make with Scardina being injured or picking up that knock is like, what does he do with right wing back and left wing back, quite frankly. So there were some people when this came out that immediately said Clay was right wing back, and I wanted to. The rage filled inside me, even though I knew they were wrong. But interesting to see him go with Quizera on the right. Quite frankly, a Clay, Hugo, Pity midfield is extremely fun. I was very excited to see that, especially with Hugo kind of not being. I don't know. There's kind of people just assuming he might not have been fit for that first match, but nice to see him back in there. And then I will stop bearing the lead. I think the biggest one here is that we don't see Noah Fuson at all on either the starting lineup or the bench. Probably a lot to talk about more there, but I think, not having Noah really shows like this bench is not something that you're like, hey, if we're ever chasing this game, I feel really confident in us being able to make some sort of big impact here with just really kind of Busy and Dorsey being kind of guys who can come on and change it. So, looking a little light immediately, which is tough.
Yeah, we're definitely light in midfield without Zach and, him picking up that injury that we saw. I still don't think Hugo is 100%, having watched him play in the Open Cup and that sub appearance against Sporting Jackson, then watching this game against Lou City. Just looks a step behind. A lot of easy giveaways that he's usually the line breaker on those passes, or, not really looking to take guys on the dribble as much. So I think he kind of had to start out of necessity. And if you look at that bench and having Scardina, Atkinson, Meyer, Dorsey, Vang, Scardina, and Williams, like who else was going to step into that midfield and start?
I like that you also counted Scardina twice.
Oh, did I? Oh, yeah, he's on there twice.
You're like Ron Burgundy. You're just reading the prompter.
I'm just reading the teleprompter, man. Yeah, so I still don't know about Hugo and what's going on there, but he certainly does not look like the player that we saw all of last season.
No, and listen, like if he takes a week or 2 or 3 to get back into fitness, it's still earlier than we saw Hugo last year. So, I mean, even right now, he looks a bit off. I think he was fine for a lot of last night, and we'll talk more about his performance and everyone's performance more. But yeah, I think with what was available for Kano, I think this was a very logical and sound starting 11.
Definitely agree with you there. I thought early on in this one we looked pretty good.
Actually, Matt, I think we probably should touch on the Noah not inclusion on this one.
All right, go for it.
Yeah. So just to clear that up. So, I will preface this entire thing as we know nothing. We actually should just start every episode with we know nothing. It would just make this all make a lot more sense. But with Noah being out, there was some comments from Kano after the Open Cup game that he didn't feel like there was a level of professionalism that he saw from the entire team or from certain players in that game. He didn't mention anybody by name, but there were some players who you would assume with their level that we've seen from them in this league that they would really be able to dominate a game against an amateur team. And I would say Noah as well as Busy were 2 players who I think all of us had a bit, and you guys did a great job on the show talking high hopes, but then also, pretty damning, frustration with them in that game.
Yep.
Yeah. So and I thought, again, you, Leo, Hans did a great job talking through that game. But within that, to see Noah not on the injury report, but also not on the bench, putting 2 and 2 together there, it feels like Kano's really kind of making a statement there in terms of like what he expects from his guys each and every match.
Yeah, definitely. I think we were all pretty excited to see Noah on the starting lineup for that cup game, and thought he could probably, get some goals or get some assists and kind of get back into things. And the performance didn't do it. And as a coach myself, I understand it. You want to send a message to your players. You drop players from the starting lineup. You drop from the squad altogether, or not getting playing time. I think I'm totally with you on that one. That is definitely a message from Kano here.
Yeah, and I mean, I would say I don't have a problem with it. Like at the end of the day, like I have all sorts of issues with different things Kano does, but one of them is like I do appreciate that he has a standard that he holds these guys to. And at the end
Sure.
of the day, like as a coach, we've heard people talk about this with like Belichick, like he would go at Tom Brady the same way he would go at the last guy on the roster. And like he has to do that with, Noah, who's been there for 3 seasons, has been a pretty consistent starter throughout his time here. If he's not putting in the effort, Kano needs to reprimand him, even though this definitely hurt the team. Like I said, the bench, we didn't have much going into this in a game that like very likely would need some sort of changes because you're playing at Louisville. It's probably the toughest place to play in the league. It was going to obviously be a pretty tough environment and tough game, and having someone like Noah who's been there, has been a part of these kind of big wins and big results we've gotten there, is really tough to leave him behind. So I think it's a big decision, but if that is the reason why all this happened, again, we don't know anything official. I don't hate that from Kano because he is showing these guys that like they have to put the level that he's expecting every single match, and that is super fair.
No, definitely agree with you on that one. But kind of taking a look at the first few minutes of this one, I thought RFC started pretty strong. Had the ball in Louisville's box or around it for, I would say, the first 5 or so minutes. We were really kind of in control of this one, and then as things shifted, the next 10 or so, Louisville got a very good foothold, and our back line looked a little bit shaky. Wasn't clearing out. We saw it from Frank. We saw it from Yao. We saw it from Hugo. Just had a hard time clearing the ball, giving them some corners, and giving Louisville much sustained possession. And I think a lot of that was kind of the midfield. The midfield had very few passes strung together in this one early and often, I would say, throughout this one. Really kind of struggled to get a foothold in the game. And the game was kind of played just looking at RFC on the counter after that first 5 minutes. And I can understand that. That's been successful against Louisville in the past, but there was literally no possession for RFC in the midfield throughout this one.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting. Like both Leo and JJ they're both like technical forwards. Like they definitely can both drop in and create that extra man and extra body for an outlet. I just found that we really struggled finding JJ on that out ball up top, like whether it was like just his positioning or we just were expecting him to be longer. He seemed like his goal was to really stretch the defense and bring them as far out, where we've seen when JJ drops in, he's actually a handful once he's in the mix in the midfield. So could there have been a little bit more interplay there for either a Leo or JJ or both to kind of come in a little bit tighter to then create that overload in the midfield? Maybe, but yeah, I mean, at the same time, like going to Louisville, they're a team that likes possession. They're a team that likes to really control kind of that field position. So it was always going to be tough. And the fact that our defense, I think this was the start of a lot of shaky moments for them, especially from 3 guys who, Grant, Karifa, Frank, all have like are veterans of this team, are all 3. This is their 3rd year with RIFC. It was a little strange to kind of see the jitters from a group that you think would be fine in terms of like their communication, what they're expecting,
and kind of relish that moment of playing against the top team.
Yeah, so it was pretty odd, and I think it unfortunately was a sign of things to come.
For sure. Luckily, we didn't have to wait too long, as Jojea Quizera got us off the mat in the 21st minute with this wonderful goal.
Bent ahead for Leo Afonso. Afonso cutting in. Quizera settles. Jojea Quizera! You won't see a better goal all weekend in the championship. Quizera makes it 1-0.
So definitely a goal of the week contender for the USL Championship. But I want to give you some flowers here, Ryan. You've always talked about Quizera playing on the right and having that ability to cut back in on his left foot and smash a worldie like that. The goal itself, obviously one thing, but the decision, I think, of him being out there on the right, probably out of necessity with Scardina being on the bench not once but twice in this one, led to that opportunity. And I think he took the most of it. there are some caveats with him playing out there. We'll talk about that kind of as we get going, but a wonderful goal to start Rhode Island FC the right way in this one.
It's really nice when a take you've given just ages really well. It's a take that I was getting just absolutely hammered in the chat for that. I think Jojea could be really good on the right, cutting in on that left, and seeing him put that one top corner, top bins was absolutely beautiful. But, I thought Jojea, he was very aggressive in this game. We're going to talk a bit more about kind of his contribution throughout this in terms, especially on the offensive end. But, great to see him, taking that shot, getting it even on goal is fantastic from there. And obviously putting it top bins is even better. It all really stems from a great counterattack. We actually had a few good chances, even though Louisville, as you mentioned, had a ton of the possession and we were really pinned back for a bit. We had one or two kind of breaks. And I thought Leo Afonso, especially, was really good on those breaks. He was really running the channels. I think he's really finding a place in this squad as a bit of a connector, and seeing him kind of run the channels, pull it back, and then find Jojea with a really nice assist there. Obviously Jojea has a ton of work to do after that, but you're seeing him have the ability to kind of both make the run, but then also find the right pass after that. And I'm really appreciating kind of the subtleties of Leo's game, but then obviously a fantastic finish from Jojea. I think my favorite part at the end here is how Jojea clearly, like, he had a very clear celebration in mind, and everyone else is like hugging him, and he's almost like getting them out of the way. He's like, "Come on, I got my thing to do." And I don't know if we have the clip, but I think it was like him, Karifa, and Frank did this like dance together. It was great stuff. It was great.
Definitely orchestrated there on that one. The broadcasters love that one too. But so you mentioned it. Sarah says it in the chat too. Leo looked great. He's a worker. He works hard his entire shift. That's what I really liked. Unfortunately, JJ had the opportunity to play him through at one point a little later in this one and just kind of whiffed on the pass and hit a little dribbler. But I think he's kind of the key to unlocking this attack. And I think there's a lot of goals in this team to come this season. So hopefully we kind of see that all link up. But the defense looked a little rough overall, as Pawtucket Jay says. And like we've seen time after time, Rhode Island FC get a nice goal and then give it back just 2 minutes later in this one.
Which is pretty much how it went, as you said, in 2024 when they beat them twice.
Morris looking for Donovan. Back to Morris! Immediate response from Louisville City!
Ray Serrano plays it, and the ball comes back in. And it's Chris Donovan there who makes that tackle. Got to give him credit there. Actually give him an assist on that, because he wins that ball and it just rolls loose, and Jake Morris says thank you very much. But then, wow, does he strike that fantastically from there. Well done, Jake Morris.
So you see there, Yao's beaten to the ball by the defender, winning the tackle. Interesting little tidbit on that. You watch Yao go to back up, get back up. The defender kind of pushes him back down. I don't know if it would warrant enough for a foul there, but not seen. And then we were kind of caught watching, standing in no man's land. And take your pick at how many white shirts were just kind of watching that one as Louisville City gets on the board and ties it at 1.
Yeah, I thought it was tough. I mean, obviously when a ball, kind of a collision happens and the ball's kind of going to go anywhere, it's always tough. But I think it was the first of many times we kind of got caught ball watching, and both Jojea and Hugo are kind of standing there. They're all like in line with the guy who scores the goal. The only person who moves towards the ball is the guy who scores the goal. So I think it was a weird, for a team that, last year we were horrific offensively, but we were a team that was really, really solid defensively. And I thought we've seen some strange moments so far from a team that I felt really got over their defensive humps. And it seems like there's some either bad habits. I don't know. People are a little out of shape, a little tired. But it's just some levels of effort on the defensive end that we'll probably talk about throughout this episode that I think a lot of players are going to have a tough time in the video session if they're having it today or tomorrow, because a lot to be desired there. What was I going to say about this? Oh, one thing that I thought was weird on this one. Do you think it is like, so when they have, I think it's when the goal is scored, it's a Fireball Whiskey goal from them?
I kind of like that. Yeah.
I see, like, I would find that, as someone who lived in Louisville, like very offensive with all of the unbelievable whiskeys they have down there, to have Fireball be the main sponsor.
I wonder if they have it, can you purchase it at Lynn Family? Is it like a quick, easy promo thing? I don't know. That's kind of the caveat.
Yeah, but I think FQB brings it up in the chat. Like, are we the worst in the league at giving up a goal after scoring one?
Yeah, like I kind of said leading into this goal, we've seen this happen time after time where we take a lead or we tie a game, and then immediately we see within 5 minutes, the opposing team go down and cancel that goal out with a goal of their own. And whether that's kind of I think that's more mental than anything, because I don't know if
100%.
we're just like too amped up. We scored a goal, and based on last year, that didn't happen too often, but there's a mental lapse after this RAFC team scores goals, and it always leads to a quick counteract goal.
It's really weird. My high school coach he said, like, statistically, you're more likely to give up a goal like 2 minutes after you score one. So we used to what we called code red, where literally if it came down our end, just boot it, like clear it for 2 straight minutes, and like don't even bother with trying
Settle
to
back in.
Yeah, I quite frankly, I'm pretty positive he just made that up, like complete lie. But like RIFC seems to be proving it, that it is a very dangerous time. So maybe my Division 4 high school coach was correct the whole time. But I really
Sounds right.
hope this team, again, with some of the stuff they're going to see on video from this game, but also just in general, like this isn't a one season problem. And I think we're going to talk a bit about some things in this match where, there's some stuff that, you can say early in the season, it's only the second game, but it's like, this is now our 3rd year covering and watching this team. And,
It's a trend.
It's a trend when it's not just these 2 games, where it was last season, the season before. And I think this is a clear one.
Yeah, definitely a bigger picture issue, I think, than, looking at 2 games in isolation.
Mm-hmm.
But first half, we see RAFC and Louisville even at 1-1.
You guys should be really happy that Matt did the stat slides this time. I got booted. I got benched for that one.
We got the stats.
Call me Noah Fuson in this one.
You're on baby duty. You're good. Like we mentioned, Louisville with the lion's share of possession, 66%. They outshot RAFC 9-4. We had more shots on target, with all 4 being on target. 2 big chances to Louisville to 0 for RAFC. Louisville completed 208 passes at 81% to just 88 at 66 for RAFC. 7 fouls to Louisville, 3 for Rhode Island, and 5 corners to 1. Pretty awesome watching this one with Graham. And every when we had that corner, he was chanting, "We want chicken." So I love that. He was able to bring Big Chicken back into this, even on an away game where we don't get it. It was good stuff.
Honestly, I love Graham's enthusiasm there, because scoring on corners can be great, home or away. So I'll take him out. I can get him. Lucky to go in 1-1. They really had the majority of the ball, which you would expect. But I think the big thing that stood out to me from this half, like, number one, great to score that goal, but had a bit of unease with just like how shaky we looked at the back. They had a lot of there was just like I think we're actually a pretty good team one-on-one defending. And there's a lot of times we just couldn't hold up really well one-on-one defending, especially from like our best defenders. Like, quite frankly, I thought Karifa looked really shaky in this one, which I really couldn't figure out at all. But I think that was the scary part. But at the same time, like 1-1 at Louisville, you kind of get to restart from scratch. Absolutely would have taken it going into the game.
Yeah, and I went big on defenders and club collector, like looking at how well Frank and how well Yao played in that last match, and thought if we're going to get a win, it's going to be kind of stealing one by hook or crook out there, and that didn't work too well for me. Big shout out to Zach, who won the classic, though. Kid knows ball. Should have went with his picks, but apparently defender wasn't the way to go on this one.
Do you think a bit of this is our fault, because we went big on especially some individual names in the defense last episode that I was on, just really giving them flowers, and I'm nervous that maybe it got a little to people's heads.
Yeah, for sure. So it got to mine. It got to my club collector head. I had that the champion mode win last week, and I'm in the 30s this week.
I mean, I'm in the absolute doghouse of club collector. I think it was like 54th place, which I didn't even know you could get 54th place. But yeah,
I think there were 61 entrants in both competitions, so you weren't last. That's good.
So I guess that's a good caveat again.
For all those of you that play Club Collector, if you haven't already, enter that code UpTheTide26, get it in, get some free packs, add it to your collection. Go ahead, Ryan. Sorry. Make sure we pay Craig's bills.
That's unbelievable. Like, you're being a professional. I'm just lamenting my inability to do well at Club Collector this season. So keep it going.
True. And Han says lineup being late did not help Club Collector.
Can I think we actually have to talk about this. So
let's go for it.
Like, I don't want to make a big deal of this, but The team submits the lineup an hour before the match. I'm assuming they submit it significantly before that, and the league just like has it. We are now, and I would say the team has historically been perfectly great at this. Like I cannot remember
On time.
another time where that tweet doesn't just fire off at 1 hour before the match and you can see the lineup. We are now 3 games into the season, and every single time it has been anywhere from like 8 to 15 minutes, maybe even longer in this one, late. Like we got to clean that up. Like that is very much not good. I also, in particular, in this one, hated that while the lineup was 15 minutes late, they kept tweeting like pictures of the locker room, and I was like, pals, like this is not the time for this. Like schedule your tweets however you need to schedule them, but the one tweet I need and one post I need scheduled is the lineup an hour before the match. I got to lock into Club Collector. I got to get nervous. I got to get excited. I got to get all the stuff going. But at the same time, it's like literally like a mandated thing. So I don't know what has happened in the off season, but let's clean that up.
Timmy thinks it's that new 2-panel lineup graphic. Makes sense.
I mean, it's a beautiful graphic. Shout out to the design team. I don't know if they're the ones messing it up, but whatever operations shenanigans we got to figure out, like let's really work on this because there's no reason that this is a problem.
Han says it was actually 20 minutes late yesterday. I saw it on FOTMob before RIFC socials.
Yeah, I mean, I tweeted out this is what FOTMob's saying. It looks like it's right. All the other teams in the league, I actually went and checked. I'm like, is there something new? Everyone else is kind of putting out right around that hour mark. So I don't know what the heck we're doing, but please clean that up.
I'll also add it's easy to schedule posts on both social media platforms, so you can have it drop right at that hour mark. Just saying, easy fix.
I will happily offer Tide Talks services in this one. As everyone saw, I did a bang up job scheduling the days till post into my paternity leave. So we'll happily help with that if needed.
It's easy. Unfortunately, the second half started in this one.
Which is pretty much how it went, as you said, in 2024 when they beat
them twice. That's the wrong goal.
This week, of course,
we don't want to watch that again. All right. Let me make sure we
it's the right team.
It was the right team. I had Ryan's slide duties. I botched it up. So unfortunately, like I was saying, Louisville started the second half pretty strong in this one. Let's see if we can actually get the right one. Maybe I missed that one.
This week, of course, Danny Cruz leaving. Olstead fired into Quizera, save made by Farouk, rebound by Williams, equalizer.
A couple of
so we'll skip that one. I don't know what's going on with my my slides right now. They're tweaking out on us.
Quizera, save made by Farouk, rebound by Williams.
The poor people on the podcast, you have no idea what's happening right now.
Come to the YouTube. So we'll get the Clay goal playing right now. Definitely had Louisville's number 2 in there, but don't know where it went. I'll try to find that when Ryan talks. But we started with we started the half, and Louisville was able to get on the board with a goal from Duncan in the 48th, and kind of like I said about conceding a goal, right out of scoring a goal, conceding a goal right outside the first 5 minutes of halftime is always something that kind of drives me nuts.
Yeah, so just talk about both goals. So on theirs, it's a really weird goal. Again, it's like a lot of the things that we talked about that were problems in this game on the defensive end really shined on this one. Clay lets his man run off of him. He looks like he kind of thinks he has cover, but there's no one there. We then see Hugo and Jojea again. They're kind of both marking space. No one picks up the man who's making the run through. I would probably put the onus more on Hugo there, but he does end up back post, and Jojea is kind of just saying they're marking nobody. It was nice though. After this, we do have a really nice reaction after the second. We had a chance where Leo skims one right across the line immediately. So there was a good reaction from RIFC, but frustrating for us to give up that goal, especially coming right out of halftime, where it looks like, again, a lot of the kind of defensive, either people not talking to each other or just pure effort and attention were not being played there. But on our second, again, like while we were lamenting the team for giving up a goal immediately after scoring, after we scored one. It's nice that we also rebounded the opposite way. So again, really nice connection from Leo. He's in the pocket to spring Jojea. As I mentioned earlier, while I've been giving Jojea shit on the defensive end, he was fantastic on the offensive end. Very, very aggressive here. And he gets his third shot on target here. And then we get your favorite thing, spillage in the box, which goes to JJ. And then he does a great job picking out Clay. Clay Halstead, when playing in the midfield, is one of the best center midfielders in the league. And great to see him getting on the scoreline in Louisville, a place that he has loved playing, seemingly.
For sure. I think that's really well said. I'm sorry, I don't know where the second Louisville goal
I'll be honest, I didn't want to watch any of the Louisville goals. This is great. I'm happier.
So let's do it a little bit more concisely. You talked about spillage on that Clay goal. So let's go back and rewatch that one again so we can give that one a proper read through.
This week, of course, Danny Cruz leaving. Holstead fired into Quizera, save made by Veru, rebound by Williams. Equalizer for Holstead. In the first half, Lou City answered just moments after Rhode Island took the lead. Now it's Rhode Island.
So good seeing Rhode Island answer, as the commentators mentioned, and as we've seen teams always answer against us. People want to see the Clay goal on loop anyway, so it was fine playing it 2 or 3 times, whatever it was. You mentioned in your opening you really liked how Leo is kind of in the focal point and picking out runners. A really nice pick out of Jojea. And something else you also mentioned was how aggressive Quizera was early in this one and often in this one. And it's a nice ball in, like you mentioned, leading to my favorite word of spillage. And Clay Holstead scores that goal because he's playing in what position, Ryan?
The center of midfield.
If he's playing at right back, that goal does not happen with him there. So gotta love it. Gotta love to see it. Just really good stuff overall on this one. Anything else you want to add? I know you talked a little bit about it.
Yeah, no, I think the craziest thing is I think I'm 2 for 2 this season on spillage. So just be careful. That's all I'm going to say to you.
Love it. Love it. All right. So next up, unfortunately, we saw Louisville take the lead in the 76th minute, and that was on the Adams goal off the set piece.
I do have to say while this runs, I love the amount of play in the midfield love that we're getting in the chat.
Love it.
Taylor Davila going for goal. It's in! Lou City once again in the lead.
Whipped in from Davila. And yes, it is Kyle Adams. He gets the header from literally a yard out. So where were the defenders is the first question you have to ask. Could goalkeeper have comfort?
So what I really hate about this one, there are literally 3 purple shirts unmarked going into this one from that close. I don't know how that happens, just from a communication perspective of players and talking and trying to pick people up and mark up. I really just hate everything about this one.
Yeah, it's gross. And, while we're giving Clay a lot of flowers for his play in this one, I do think there's a couple moments in this one where I don't think he was as defensively sound as he normally is. This one included, but at the same time, like as you're saying, he's marking either 3 or 4 people by himself. And I really struggle with this because this goes back again, like we have really struggled on offensive set pieces. I don't think we've been fantastic on defensive set pieces, and it's all like organization really. And I don't know, like, is Koke not setting them up correctly? Is like who is the guy who's saying, hey, I like there's 4 people over there.
Where does the responsibility lie on this? Who's not speaking up?
And it's just like, it's very confusing because to me, it seems like the most basic concept. It's like they have a very short set piece. We should probably all be marking. I mean, again, like with Kano, like he's someone who seemingly likes to see whatever the latest tactical innovation is. Like right now, man marking is the scourge of Europe. Everyone's pissed off about man marking and it's ruining the game. Like we should be man marking on corners like that. So I don't know what kind of, if we were just like, they're absolutely going to go back post. So we loaded up back there. But like at this point, it was 11v11 and we let 4 of their guys run near post. And I don't understand how that can happen in a professional game.
For sure. Santiago nails it in the chat. Poor coverage of the first post during their third goal. Most of the players attacked that area and they caught us sleeping. But with that kick being so close, that can't happen, especially at the professional level.
No, because like the correct thing to do is to fire it in near post and just look for something to happen, like chaos. Like either someone flicks it in, someone flicks it on. Like it just Koke has to make a save. Like it just chaos is what you're kind of expecting, and the fact that we made it really easier for them by not covering 4 guys plus, like. Yeah, this game really screams of like a level of effort that I'm not used to criticizing on Rhode Island FC, and a level of like attention and care, because at the same, like, while we'll probably be very positive about the offensive end of this game, like defensively, I found this to be a very like not typical game for LC, and I think this goal really epitomizes that. But each one is just like someone just kind of not paying attention, or someone not caring enough to get back, or someone not wanting to kind of, let me be the person to take responsibility and cover. And I think, we'll talk a bit more about what happens sooner than later, but I'm a little nervous that this kind of stems from the top down in terms of like taking responsibility and ownership.
Definitely agree with you there. Louisville was able to add to that lead later in this one, as we saw, but there was a little bit more to talk about, and we'll start with this.
From the corner, Rhode Island. Header saved by Farouk, pops straight up in the air. He keeps it out, and he's fouled. And that's not something Brandon Days and Kyle Adams are taking kindly to. Oh, now it's finally bubbling over, as we expected it might at some point between these two rivals. We'll see how many cards are doled out and which way. Jeremy Shear making mental note of all he's seeing going on as he removes himself from the equation.
Well, there's definitely a foul on the goalkeeper. He's made the save, and then he gets hit. I think it was Logan Dorsey who crashed into Hugo Farouk, and then it became a free-for-all. There's been a red card, at least one. I think there could be a few.
I think it was J.J. Williams who picked up the red. The yellow cards were just given to, I believe, Frank Nadarce and Brandon Days.
It was a late tackle from Logan Dorsey, which should have just been a yellow card, and game goes on, but because of tempers, here we go. Poor yellow card.
Nakano Smith felt left out. Oh, there's another.
So a lot to unbox on this one. I know we have very differing opinions on this one, but I also want to say I don't think this is what lost us the match. I don't think we were scoring a third goal. We're already down on that, but there is a lot to talk about on this one. First off, Logan Dorsey crashing the net on that one, I have zero problem with. The Hugo Farouk,
I don't even have zero problem. I fully applaud that. Like, that's what you should do.
Farouk kind of bobbles the ball there too, so it wasn't a clean catch. It wasn't a clean delivery even before he made contact with him. But then we see all kind of hell break loose as Dorsey is then thrown into the back of the net by 2 Louisville City players. JJ comes in, puts a hand on someone's face, which we know is an automatic red. There are a lot of arms in that play. There are a lot of hands on faces, on body parts. For him to get the only red there is what I have a problem with. You have guys throw people into the net and kind of start that whole scuffle. And I really think that this whole incident could have been tempered down a lot more by match official Jeremy Shear if he comes out of there with 2 red cards, 1 on each team. JJ, you got, I forget the Louisville defender, Says or whatever, that throws Dorsey into the net. I think you throw him out for that as well. It will kind of start there with the breakdown of the play. But as a coach, as a former basketball official, you're always taught game management is your best tool. And we've seen time and time again with Jeremy Shear. We saw him in that Hartford 0-0 match where we lost in penalties in the cup. He has none of it. He let Siaha go and wank across the field on national television, much to Timmy's chagrin, and did nothing about it. He has no control when moments like this hit the fan.
So, folks, if you were contemplating, like, is now the time to hit pause, grab another beer and come back, I would say cozy up, because I think this is going to be a good segment. So I guess first, I got
a good one tonight too. Actually, before I finally found that very nice variety pack.
That is a
little Derek White ale.
That's beautiful. I'm going with the old hometown Narragansett beer, as well as this beautiful Tide Talk koozie that you can get on TideTalkRI.com in our store. But
I gotta go and get one now that goal of the week nominee Jose Quizera has mine.
That's beautiful. So I guess the first thing I I struggle with here. I actually do think we could have scored a third. We literally, this all comes from us threatening. The sequence all starts from actually a beautiful play where I think it's Leo actually who plays in clay, and then Clay or Jojea plays in clay, and then Clay like rips one on goal. Like we were threatening, and I think we were actually the team that looked more likely to score the next one. So that's where I kind of struggle with this entire thing. It's like we're the team down, and we're the team who needs to kind of keep putting pressure on. But from there, like Dorsey absolutely can and should go up for that ball. There's no problem there. I think Faru had multiple. And Faru had multiple kind of weird things that happened in this game where he was getting hurt by his own teammates and going down. Like he clearly was a guy who was like looking for contact in the box and wanted to make an absolute meal out of it every time. He did it there. At the same time, if I was a Louisville defender, I also would have had a problem with that because you got to protect your goalie. That's just classic defender behavior. They give him a little shove. He kind of makes a meal of it, goes in the back of the net, is what it is. So everyone crashes the net. Gonna happen. The issue I have here. So I don't know that I think Louisville should have gotten a red card here. I think it's a little skirmish there. The only reason that JJ gets a red card is because JJ, every single time this happens, he has a reaction where he grabs the player's collar like it's hockey. And when you do that, your hand is right around the couple places that you're just really are hot button issues. One is the neck and the other is the face. I think JJ gets pushed and his hand goes up and kind of it glances the guy's face. I watched like 100 times. It glances the guy's face, and from where the ref is standing, the only thing he can really see is hand go to face. And like I can't really be too pissed off at the ref for this because like JJ shouldn't be putting himself in the situation which he's done multiple times where his hand is going to face. So,
well, let me ask you this, Ryan. Why are you okay with the Louisville players sticking up for their goalie, but not JJ sticking up for his player getting thrown to the back of the net?
Hand go to face. None of their hand.
Well, like you mentioned, he was pushed. He was bumped into that.
But if you're the ref and like there's no VAR, you have to remember that. And his positioning is around the kind of the side. The only thing he can see is hand going up to face. So from his knowledge, JJ threw a punch. Like he doesn't necessarily know what happened, but he sees JJ's hand hit the guy's face, which it did. And I just think it's like, do I think JJ should have gotten a red? No. But do I think JJ Williams needs to be a much smarter professional who's been in this league for, I think, 6 to 8 years and is 28 years old now and needs to stop getting stupid fucking red cards as a talisman of this team? Yeah. Like I'm sick of JJ not being available through either injury or from stupid suspensions, which he's gotten multiple times at this point. So am I fine with him in this very specific context sticking up for his teammate? Sure. But at the kind of looking at the resume here of JJ getting thrown out of games and being unavailable for this team when he is the talisman, he is now, we don't have Chico anymore. And do I think Chico was a fellow talisman of this team? No, but like JJ's the guy and he needs to be available. The best ability is availability and JJ needs to be there. So for him to put himself in a bad situation there to get thrown out, I think is like, I don't think it's a great call by the ref, but I also don't, from what the ref can see, I don't think he can see anything different. So,
well, you also have linesmen you can ask for help on with that, and he came out with his red card.
I just don't know that I don't know that they could have seen anything different. Like it's really quick, and JJ's hand goes up. Like it sucks. Like it sucks, but we have the ability to sit there and rewind it and go back and have a really nice zoomed in camera angle. Like these guys, the probably assistant ref on the right is probably in the corner flag, and the other guy is probably at the halfway line. I don't know if they could really see anything different because especially, and again, I keep saying JJ gets thrown out a lot. He now probably has a bit of a reputation. He's someone who doesn't get the foul calls he deserves because he's kind of someone who bangs. And he's also someone who's gotten enough second yellows and like reds. So I really struggle with giving someone the benefit of the doubt who really should know better. Do I think this is a red for JJ in the specific thing? No, but I have the ability to watch it at home with multiple replays and, multiple things where like from what you could see, the ref could see where he was kind of in the back, he sees a hand go up to the face and he has to call that. That is his job. And that is him trying to de-escalate the situation.
I don't disagree with that. I just think that you had a lot of hands, a lot of piles there. It's very easy to grab another guy there and cooler heads prevail, get one out on each team. I think that avoids the Kano red card there. So on that one,
we'll get to that in a second.
We'll get to that, but I think not having that man management skill or aspect really kind of leads to that.
The only I don't disagree. It's just hard because like at the same time, the only person that you see a hand go up that far is JJ. So like for the ref, like he thinks he sees a punch, and like honestly, and you play it in real time, like it looks like a punch. Like, did he kind of get bumped and he trips and does it? Like, yeah, but like I just, again, I think it's really stupid shit by JJ to even put himself in a position, because everyone else is just kind of little shoves, and like his hand is up at the guy's face, and it, because he's falling, looks like it swings. And like, I don't know that the ref has the ability to see anything different. That's where I'm like, I really struggle blaming the ref on this one, because he sees a hand, which is clearly JJ's, go by the guy's face. And yeah, I think putting yourself in the position to get that card is stupid.
I also think the ref, like Timmy kind of says, with agreeing that he could have de-escalated before JJ got involved. He removes himself from proximity of this whole thing, and then does it again to further issue the red card. But had he stayed in the box, in the play, all of this could have been much further de-escalated. That's, again, I just think, we saw him let Siaha wank all over Tidewater. This guy sucks. He's a terrible man manager. He builds Legos for fun, but I think we've seen it again with him. So there are two big incidents, and, we'll look at the Kano piece next, and Kano going off and, basically said, like, how do they not get a red card there? That's what I'm assuming, the hand gesture for the card. Sure. And kind of reading lips on that one. He gets booked the first time, and then, basically Kano is told, like, don't say anything else. And all he says is that's bullshit. And as a former referee, that ref stayed there. He's looking for that confrontation. He's looking for that. After he gave that first one, he could have very easily walked away. He stayed there, waited for the reaction. And I think that's just bullshit on his part.
So one final bit on the skirmish before the Kano thing. So I do believe, and Joe Burns will absolutely correct us either way if I'm wrong here. I'm 90%, 99% sure that they are told actually to step away and just watch the situation versus get in there and try to play police.
Yeah, and I wasn't saying break it up. Yeah. I wasn't saying break it up, but just having your presence be there and be closer in the play is totally a detractor from anything like that happening. If a ref's standing there, you expect that to not happen. I think just the proximity of him being there versus actually like turning his back to it is when it all happened. Then he had to come back in. It led to more.
Yeah, I struggle with that because like I actually think he makes a bit of the wrong call on JJ because he's so in the mix. Like he's literally like he's like in the net where he sees the JJ thing happen, and I don't think he gets the best angle because he's in the net. So I struggle with that. I thought he was fine. Like I don't have any. I can't believe I've been backed into a corner where I am trying to defend a USL championship ref because
I'll actually say I thought leading up to this, he actually had a pretty good game, as far as letting both teams kind of play. I think he gave a yellow to a wrong player on RIFC earlier in this one. I forget which one it was. But I thought he was absolutely fine until then. I just thought this was where he really showed his downfalls as an official.
Sure. So moving to the Kano incident. So I find the Kano red card to be absolutely pathetic by Kano. I think he has shown, and I think this is again I kind of teased this earlier about this kind of mindset bleeding into the team a bit of like lack of accountability, lack of responsibility, lack of like, I'm going to put the things that I feel aggrieved about aside and I'm going to try to win the game. It's just not professional. Like, so in the clip, like the guy Kano's gotten a billion yellow cards for dissent. Like we heard, especially in the Sporting Jacks game, if you watched at home, like we could hear all the insane stuff that these coaches and assistants all say to these refs all game. It is wild. But so kind of gets his yellow. Great. You made your point. Heard, got it. And the guy's saying there, and he clearly says like, okay, you got it, like yellow. And he says like, leave it alone. And Kano has to go back for that second bite to make sure he gets the red. And to me, that's not sending a message because nothing's going to change off this. Like, quite frankly, like I think the league's going to review this incident and say, whatever the ref's name, you nailed it. Like, I think it was fine. Also, like the refs in this league are not the best refs in the world. Like they are Division II referees in the United States of America. They're not the best people on planet Earth at refereeing soccer games. So especially, and Kano being someone who's been in this league for a very long time and been in the United States Soccer Federation for a very long time, like he knows what to expect. So to sit there when your team is down a goal on the road and pushing to get the win, you basically signal after that JJ red that like the team also should quit. JJ did that, gets a red. You could quabble with it. I'm not mad at him for being upset about that. What I'm upset about is he has the ability to, in that moment, say, I'll take the yellow, and I will then decide to tactically figure out a way for my team to try to score a goal in the next, like, it's not even stoppage time yet. There was 7 minutes of stoppage time after this, and he quit on his team. So to me, that is him saying to his team that the rest of this game doesn't matter. And guess what happens right after this? They go and score a goal. Was that probably because they were up a man? Sure. But the coach and the GM and one of the leaders of this club just said to you all that this rest of this game doesn't matter. I'm mad. I'm taking my toys and I'm going home. And like, so there's a level of professionalism that like is just not there, because God forbid you sit there and actually tactically try to figure it out versus taking your toys and going home. I think that is unbelievably pathetic by Kano. I'm so much more pissed off at him than I am JJ. JJ gets what I think is a very stupid, but like, I get, red card. Kano's is so deliberate to get the red card where maybe he thinks he's making a point, but I think he's just fucking his team and telling the rest of them that like this doesn't matter.
I disagree. I think you need to get a little bit more perspective here, as Quadros says, and get ready to get clipped and get that Denzel Washington quote subtweeting you out in this one. It's 89-56. You're now down a man. You're at Louisville. You're sticking up for your players. You're going to town. And like I mentioned, that ref had to stay involved, had to keep talking, and give himself that opportunity to give Kano the red. I love the fact that he fought for the players there. I have no problem with him escalating it to a red at this point. You have a more than capable staff who can relay your message. You're down a man now. Obviously, yes, there's 10 minutes. The odds of you scoring a goal down a man at Louisville with 7 minutes of stoppage time, pretty low to begin with. I just think that, and if you listen to this podcast or anyone that talks to me, I'm one of the biggest not fans of Kano and a lot of his decisions he makes, but I'm giving the big guy a free pass on this one. I like it. It's early in the season. He stood up for his team. And I think the perspective is that now, same way as sending a message to Noah that if you don't go out and perform against the amateur side, I'm going to back my players when shit happens and, things occur that don't go our way and probably were incorrectly called.
But what the fuck does it prove? The league's not going to go and like change their officiating tonight. Like,
it doesn't matter. It's a 1-game ban. This isn't the Premier League where it would have been 3.
I can't disagree more on this. I just think he has the opportunity. Like the guy, I think the thing you're pissed is the guy stays there, but the guy is just like, here's your yellow. Don't say anything else. Even I think, Dave McKay comes over and is like, literally like, Kano, shut the fuck up. And Kano literally just says he said, I don't even think he said anything crazy, but it's just, the ref is telling you to shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Like, shut the fuck up for 2, like, just go and fucking take, go take out your whiteboard and figure out a fucking plan versus bitching at the ref for something you can't change. It happened. It is not going to change. Be an adult, fucking take a deep breath and fucking give your team a chance to go. I think it's absolutely, nope. I think it's just quitting. It's quitting on the thing. It's taking the easy way out. Now he goes in the locker room. He gets to feel good about himself. Brother, fucking get the fucking magnets out and figure out a way to put your team in a position to score again, because you were knocking on the door. This is a result. And also, this is what separates fucking mediocre managers from the elite. The elite can control their emotions and fucking channel it into the right thing. In that moment, getting a red card is not sending any message to anybody. The only message it's sending is that the team doesn't need, that's it for the game. We can all just go home, and then we let up a shitty goal because our team is not focused or serious. Sorry. My bad, Paris. Yeah, my bad. But I can't be more annoyed. Man, I feel bad now. I can't be more annoyed that Kano did that. You go. I feel bad.
I love it. I love that Matt Hands is the only one that agrees with me. I will take all the hate. Timmy
I feel so bad. My bad for the kids watching. I'm so sorry.
Timmy says this is why Matt is an all-time podcaster. He cannot genuinely believe this take. Sad part is I believe it. I live it. I stand on it. I'm going to stand on this soapbox all season long. When we go on and bang out 3 or 4 wins in a row, I'm going to be on here tooting my horn saying it's because Kano got that red card. Kano fired those boys up. I love it.
sorry, I'm in my own head now. But I will have to say a little behind the scenes, Ty Talk. Matt and I have been silently we've been disagreeing about this, like, but we keep being like, let's save it for the podcast. So this is a genuine Matt take. I have to give it.
This is authentic. As a coach, I would do the same thing. Don't mind getting teched in basketball, thrown off if I see the need.
I feel so I want to be so clear on this. I think getting a tech in basketball is so significantly different than getting a red card in soccer. A tech in basketball,
I agree.
It's 2 points or 1 point. Like it's not getting tossed. And even coaches getting tossed in basketball. It's also like an 82 game season where like it just does not seem like the does not. Sorry, I'm reading the chat now. I gotta close it. But like it just doesn't seem like it's worth it. And I just really. I don't know. I also struggle because I don't even think it's that crazy of a red card to give. Like from what you can see on the thing, like JJ's hand goes across the guy's face.
I think it's more of the fact that Louisville was not seen red too, and like I said, I have no problems, none at all.
We told you to cozy up and get a second beer, so
maybe a third. Who knows? Maybe some Fireball. It was sponsored by all the goals, and perfect time to transition into what transpired right after the red card.
Oh my God, the game's over.
Island players over into the back of the net. Is that worthy of a red card? I don't think so. You know, that would be what you would try and argue.
Jansen Wilson to put this game away, and does! Louisville City on their way to a perfect 3-0 start, sitting atop the Eastern Conference as ever.
Stats will tell you the XG is higher, the shots on goal have been higher. Ray Serrano with the pass. He's got a little bit too much time for me. Jansen Wilson there. And you've got to look at CJ Williams, and could he have got a little bit closer because you're in the box, you've got time to.
So that was my big take on that one. CJ Williams way too far away. They gave Serrano too much time, to make that pass as well. But you are a man down at this point, and those things open up a little bit easier.
Yeah,
I'm just getting that image off the screen because that was weird. But and with that said, here were your substitutions for the second half. CJ Williams came on for Sanchez in the 66th. Logan Dorsey came on for Pitti in the 72nd, and Dwayne Busy Atkinson comes on for Karifi Yao in the 83rd. But your thoughts on that final goal, Ryan?
Yeah, I think at that point we're just kind of chasing shadows. Williams, people are kind of giving him shit, but he really gets sucked in because people are really just trying to cover ground. Like there's 3 guys rushing on the 2. Grant kind of steps onto his man. CJ's kind of caught between 2 guys, and he just can't recover. I think a lot of people had a lot of praise for him after the Open Cup match. A bit of a tough step up going away to the perennial best team in the league. And quite frankly, shows a bit how light we are in the back with Giap hurt. So hopefully Giap is healthy soon. But at the same time, it's tough to blame Williams when this was something that was happening over and over again all match from our most experienced defenders as well.
Yeah, right on. Look, like we said, we thought Williams looked great in that cup game. Baptism by fire, as Han says, in this one. And I think you nailed the point, just trying to cover ground and a lot of space and a lot of time for Louisville on that last goal.
Yep.
All right, so second half stats for this one. Rhode Island actually outpossessed Louisville 59-41%. Both teams with 7 shots, 6 on target for Rhode Island, just 4 for Louisville. Louisville had 3 big chances, 2 for RIFC. Just 62 passes at 62% for Louisville, 108 at 74 for Rhode Island. 8 fouls on Rhode Island, 3 for Louisville, 5 corners to 1. And then here are your final stats. 57% possession for Lou City, 43 for Rhode Island. Louisville outshot Rhode Island 16-10. 8 shots on target for RFC, 6 for Louisville. 5 big chances to 2. 270 passes completed at 75% for Louisville to 196 at 70 for RAFC. 11 fouls for Rhode Island, 10 for Louisville. 10 corners to 2. That was definitely a big one in there. 2.45 XG to 1.0. Louisville winning that battle as well. So I guess overall, big picture, lingering thoughts on this one, Ryan?
Yeah, so I think it's another game where if you went into this season being worried about the offense, I think you would be feeling a bit better about what we've seen over the past 2 games. We haven't been pouring them in, like 3 goals over 2 games isn't something crazy, but to do it, especially 2 goals against what was the best defense in the league by like a really big margin last season. It has to make you feel good. I think we saw in the second half, we responded really well. We had 6 shots on target and 2 big chances created again against one of the best defenses, if not the best in the league. So there's a lot of positives to take, especially on the offensive end in this one. What scares me is I thought we were just very sloppy, and it's one of those teams where you just can't be sloppy against. It's the team you can't be sloppy against. So it just feels much more 2024 Rhode Island FC versus last year, where we were just so good defensively. And again, this was a back line of 3 guys who have been with Rhode Island FC since the dawn of Rhode Island FC. So pretty concerning there. I don't understand how all these individual errors and just lapses in concentration happen. So I think the video session this week is going to be pretty tough for a lot of guys, but hopefully they can make a statement down Miami, because while the 2 games so far, you could say they're both decent performances for different ways. We're still only on 1.2 games in, and it's continuing our March midness, as I said at last episode. So, at this point, like we can't continue to kind of pat ourselves in the back for performances. We need to start getting results, and it really starts next Saturday with 3 points in Miami.
Yeah, I think one of my big takeaways was how the midfield just could not get a foothold, and I know I said that earlier. I think Leo needs to touch the ball a lot more, and yes. I think that has to come from the midfield. Hopefully the Scardina thing isn't a long-term knock and he's able to get back in, although Quazera was very well out there on the right-hand side. In attacking, defensively, he does leave a little bit to be desired, but did have a great attacking game, so kind of finding that balance. But the midfield definitely needs to connect some more passes and really, open things up and unlock the attack, because if not, it's just going to be looking to hit on the counter. And I get that's what you have to do against teams with the big possession, but you also need to find ways to generate some passes in the midfield to kind of change the dynamic of the game and execute tactically a little bit better.
Yeah, and like while I'm really excited about Leo and JJ as a pairing so far, I think one thing that Noah and JJ as a pairing did better is there was much more like yin yang, like kind of like JJ would come short, Noah would go, Noah would come short, JJ would go. And I think they did a better job. And mostly it was Noah kind of coming short to create that overload in midfield. And especially with the midfield we're playing right now, which is kind of 2 more defensive midfielders with 1 attacking midfielder, having Leo in this pairing kind of come short to make that box midfield should allow them to create an overload there with 4 players versus usually a team's 3. So I hope that there's going to be gelling. And we saw year 1 how much gelling needed to happen with especially the offensive end. It's the place that kind of you need as much finesse as you can get. So there's been a lot to love about Leo so far. Really hoping that we just continue to see him develop and become kind of that outlet ball, that person who's kind of hugging those, learning how to play off of JJ when especially he's getting those long balls from Koke. So there's more to come here. And I think the floor that we've seen over the past 2 weeks is encouraging, because I really do think there's a lot of upside here. So definitely not hitting any sort of panic button. It's just at the end of the day, we need to start picking up points.
Yep, that is the name of the game for sure. Let's switch gears a little bit and take a look at RIFC in 3 and Good, Bad, and the Ugly, where you shared your takes on this one. We'll start in the Defiant 1636 Discord with our friend Scott from Wales. His RIFC in 3 was Ref Sees Red. Good, genuinely good show, but for 15 minutes. Bad, ref didn't want to do anything for LCFC Falls. Ugly, Reds galore. We had Leo, who joined us on the last podcast, have his good Leo Afonso's presence and creativity, and Jojea coming alive offensively in a big game. Bad, fleeting defensive slips and mistakes, creating all Lose City goals. Ugly, late altercation, leaving us without JJ and Kano next week. RAFC in 3, goal clash, whiplash. Chad M had his good, as the attack looks like it's dying to break free and become nasty. Bad was defensive collapses after a goal cannot become our trademark. Ugly, Reds for JJ and Kano because the ref is a biased dork. I love that. RAFC in 3, let Jojea shoot. Terrace's RAFC in 3, we scored goals. Good, the game was winnable until the very end. Bad, we seem to give up a goal after we score within 5 minutes every single time. Amen to that. Ugly, the dust up in the goal towards the end of the game. How did Louisville not get a card at all? They actually did get 1 yellow on that one. Timmy had good. Our offense looked so much more high powered than last year. Bad, we were completely in the game and then lost our heads. Ugly, pretty poor goals conceded. RAFC in 3, let's start winning. Tyler's good was offense, bad set piece defense, ugly player availability next week. RIFC in 3, get it together. Andrew Milko's RIFC in 3, return of Batcano, and need 3 points. Good was seemed alive and making chances. Bad, except for the few times we weren't. Ugly, malice in the Lynn family stadium. And Leo has a question for us. What we saw from Joe Jaya today, is it safe to say we should see him and Aldair start together again like we did today? I don't know that a specific reason why could be pinpointed, but his impact in the game seemed by the eye test and statistically to diminish when he was switched over to the left with the CJ for Aldair sub. So take you that, Ryan. If Nick Scardina is healthy, all things considered, do we see Scardina come back in, or do we see Joe Jaya and Aldair run it back?
It's a really good question. I think at this point in the season, I'm more inclined to play Scardina just to see what we have. I think I was a little higher on him than especially Timmy Sclafani was in that first game, and I would like to see most people were higher than Timmy, but I would like to see a bit more of him because I think he does give a bit more defensive because as much as we praised the Jojea attacking side of this game, I think there were multiple goals that you could say he was one of the people who didn't cover themselves in glory there. So wouldn't hate having a bit more balance there with someone who can do a bit of both on that side. And, we have seen Jojea do really well on the left. So it's not like you're putting him in a position that is foreign to him or something that we haven't seen good stuff happen. So I think at this point, I'd be willing to try Scardina a bit more and then, adjust from there because we've, one game isn't what we should be putting a lot of chips in on at this point.
Sure. Last from the Defiance Discord, our guy Nateski, his good was goals, bad defensive togetherness, ugly red cards, JJ and coach, RFC in 3, next game, please. On Facebook, Don Lindbergh with where's the defense? Chris Peterson with lack of composure. Also on Facebook, we had Don Lindbergh again, another long season. Paris Peterson, keep yo cool. David McHugh Solera, we suck bad, RFC in 3. I don't think it's that. I don't think we suck bad. I think this performance had a lot of good things to it. Just when things went wrong, they went tragically wrong.
I want to be clear. If you're a team like we suck at this point, that is wild. Like you clearly didn't watch last year because last year there were many points we truly sucked. Like this year, I think there's a lot. Like this is a game on everybody's schedule in the league that they probably marked down as a 0 for points. Like this is like they haven't lost at home in the league since we beat them 2 years ago. So I please I think there's a lot of, again, to bring up perspective again, like this is not the game to write the team off for. Like there's a lot of really silly things that happen, a lot of good stuff to talk about, but like losing at Louisville, especially scoring a bunch of goals at Louisville, is not like something to just give away. Like, oh, season's over, let's call it a day in March.
Sure. Also on Facebook, Joe Burns, 2 RAFC in 3s, lack of discipline, and Kano's getting old. Jason Navarre's RAFC in 3, my blood pressure. Clayton Novak, concerning dang performance. Aside from Jojea and Clay, there was no good. The bad was everyone else who took the field for RAFC. The ugly, exactly the same. This literally may have been our worst single game performance ever. On to the next one. The sooner we can forget this utter disaster, the better. I think you touched about it on that, Ryan. I don't think we need to reply to that, but worst game ever. We've seen definitely worse. Larry Brown, come on, man. Frustrating to watch. So thank you to everyone who wrote in on Facebook.
If we were not an hour 8 into this episode, I'd say, hey, rank your worst performances you've seen.
Yeah, right. RAFC in 3 and good, bad, and ugly on Twitter from our guy FQB. RFC in 3, keep your composure. Good, attack looks alive. Bad, uncomfortable playing after scoring. Ugly, not competing for second balls, not marking your man, tighter in the box, not communicating with your teammates. So all stuff we kind of referenced on that short free kick they had there. On Instagram, Booth Hill Brewing, things fall apart, was his RAFC in 3. What began as a solid showing slowly turned into RAFC getting worn down and ultimately getting smacked. Is it just me, or does the team seem out of shape? Far too much reaching for the ball, missing and falling all over. The defense has been sloppy. They need to put together a complete game and start getting some points. They have the talent. On to Miami. Good, no backwards passing. Better, Clay being Clay with his laser beam goals. Best, Quizera's left foot. What a goal. He went good, better, best. Misunderstood the assignment, Booth Hill, and Ryan actually gave him credit for that. DJ Infinite said should have been at least one red card for each team. Couldn't agree more. The legendary 006 had the swearing face emoji, which is what Ryan needed on tonight's episode. So that'll wrap it up on all of our socials. As a reminder, head to our socials after each match to share your takes on all of those posts. So let's switch gears a little bit. We do have Miami next. We're going to Miami, Ryan. Miami has one draw and one loss on the season. And they actually play Sporting Jacks this Wednesday, the 25th. So we're going to get them on short rest. They were beat 4-1 by Louisville and drew 0-0 to Loudoun. Two of their higher rated players on FOTMob right now are both defenders. 13, Dalton Knudsen with a 7.4, only played in one full match. And then Alessandro Milsei, 7.23 on FOTMob, one goal in playing both matches. Miami looked a little bit better last year, looked very exposed against Louisville, and good to note that we are getting them on the short rest as well. Thoughts kind of heading into this one?
Matt, is this a must win?
Yes, it is. And the boys are going to be fired up because Kano got them fired up.
Dale. Maybe Dale. Listen, I hope that the team, really can go in Pitbull Stadium in Dale. I hope Dale Rhodey really enjoys this one. But this feels, I don't want to call it something a must win in March, but we need to start picking up points, and what a beautiful place to do it.
Yeah, I mean, we can get really worldwide with this one and score some goals and hopefully light the fireball chain of our own going. So send us your score predictions in the chat. FQB's got a 3-0. We'd love to hear what you think of this one. Definitely one where we have to get out there and win. Must-win game. I think so, Ryan.
Yeah, I agree. Let's do it. I can't believe we're breaking the in case of emergency thing right now. But we're doing it.
Yeah, we'll start with you. What do you got for this one?
Oh, geez. I haven't thought about this even for 1 minute, but I'm going to go 2-0.
RIFC?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, yes.
All right. Pawtucket Jay's got 2-1 us. Timmy's got 2-1 us. I've got 2-1 as well. I think the defense is a little suspect after the last one. I could see us kind of conceding on a set piece, a corner, whatever it is. But I do think there are goals. I think Leo gets on the score sheet. Leo, I said it last time with Leo on here. It's tough going back and forth between Leo and Leo when you're talking that. But I think he opens his account. I think we get the win. And we're singing Dale the whole way home.
What a nice episode that would be if that comes into fruition.
Our guy Will's got 2-0 RAFC in the chat as well. But and then Pawtucket Jay, a good one there. Definitely a must win for locker room morale. So I like that.
I want to be clear. Putting Foot Locker room morale is very funny.
True. All right. And one last talking point on this episode is the U.S. Open Cup Round 2 draw. We see RIFC will be hosting Hartford Pathetic Wednesday, April Fool's Day, 7 p.m. at Tidewater. Closed door draws in the U.S. Open Cup see us get Hartford. Not too happy about this one myself. Not from a performance perspective. I would have loved Westchester away again, not on a Wednesday night. I would have loved to have seen Vermont Green come here, but I think the league is really kind of leaning into this derby for some early action, maybe to detract from some of the protests. Maybe that's kind of a thing and build some hype around actual play. But I wish that this could have been the next round matchup had both teams advanced. Your thoughts on the matchup, Brian?
So I'm going to be foolish. It seems like everyone is just assuming that these things are all rigged in different ways. Some people are mad at it wasn't rigged in the way to get Vermont Green. Some people are. I'm going to assume this is a draw. I'm just going to be naive and say that. But putting that aside, I want Hartford as many times as I can get them this year. We had the performance we put in against Hartford last year was so pathetic. We need to right some wrongs, which I did tweet the complete opposite of that statement. So my bad, dad brain. But we need. I want to put boot to ass with Hartford as many times as possible this year. So please give me them in every competition as many times as we can get them, because one, I think we're the better team, and two, I think we need to again show that on the pitch.
Assert dominance.
Yeah, like that's serious. Like the way that we played them last year was was so sad and like pathetic, and all the things that, quite frankly, all things we accuse Hartford of. Like we have never had a more pissed off episode than what we had the Hartford away match. Like I don't know if you can remember and channel that feeling that we had after that match. So I want to be able to write the feeling that we had as many times as possible to cleanse and sage whatever Andrew Gomes does at the stadium. I want that to happen as many times as possible this year. So bring them on. Who cares? Like the fact that I don't know, people, I don't want to put words in people's mouths that are not happy about this, saying we're scared of them, but like, let's do it. Like, let's welcome them as many times. Let's beat them as many times as we can, because going 4-0 against them this season will really feel nice.
I will say the only thing I hate more about this is the stupid name of this derby. I think it's one of the dumbest things in creation and
Strong
history. Absolutely hate it. You will never hear me utter those words on this episode. So I hate the name. I hate the team, and hopefully we just go out there and get a win.
Well said, my friend.
And I'll leave the swearing to the chat for that one on that. But thank you to everyone who stuck with us. If you haven't already, smash that like button. And we'll be back talking next week, as people are saying. Awful derby name, Sean Buxton. I am not clicking your comment. It's not in all caps, and it's pretty much a swear word on this one. But we're on to Miami next. We'll see how that one plays out. Again, if you haven't already, smash that like button, subscribe if you're not already. But that'll wrap things up for this one. Remember, Tide Talk is more than just a podcast. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere you scroll. Click that link in this episode description to follow all of our accounts. I've been your host, Matt. For Ryan, thanks again for joining. We'll see you next time. And as always, up the Tide.
Up the Tide.